If you're a business owner and you mess up the first 30 seconds of your YouTube video, then you're guaranteed to lose out on sales because nobody will stick around long enough to see your offer. As you can see with this video right here, we got over 150,000 views, and the script was written entirely by my team, and I didn't even check the video before it went live. And videos like this on my channel are able to generate sales like this because my team follows a proven SOP for writing intros that turn cold viewers into paying clients. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact SOP I use, which is this one right here. This video right here that I'm going to show you got a 74% of people still watching after the first 30 seconds. And it's the video we broke down in this guide. But first, let's go into how to use this guide because it isn't a step-by-step formula. That's what I used to do in the past with writing intros. And I realized that intros are a bit more nuanced. You can't just write and follow the same framework every single time because the intros start to get very repetitive. It's more of an art form, and because of that, I've noticed that it's better to use checklists than step-by-step moves. The checklist just allows you to still have that creativity and make the intro more of an artistic piece rather than this formulaic mathematical thing. So that's why we're doing that. You want to think of it like building with Lego blocks. You can stack the pieces in different ways, but the right pieces still need to be there. These pieces include things like the credibility, clear target audience, the problem or desire, and a reason to keep watching. So what you want to do is use this checklist at the end to make sure that your intros include all the important parts, no matter what order you use them in. So let's dive into the rest of this SOP. And by the way, if you're watching this and thinking, I don't have the time to build out this entire system or to train writers myself, then don't worry. That's literally what I do. If you want me to build your YouTube script system for you, so you never have to worry about writing intros or hooks or worrying about your scripts coming back from your freelancers sounding like AI nonsense, then hit the link below this video. So every intro must include these 7 elements, which I'm going to dive into. Pretty much every line in your intro must serve a purpose. If it doesn't add value, then it gets cut. So the first thing is congruence with the title and thumbnail. So for example, if you have a video titled, "Why I Bet on Sports Like a Wall Street Trader," the opening hook here is, what if I told you I bet on sports the same way Wall Street traders move millions in the stock market? The phrase Wall Street traders directly matches the title. This sets the tone and it shows that the video will tie sports betting to pro-level finance. That's the first step. The second thing you need is credibility. You want to show why the speaker is worth listening to, and that can be done through experience, data, or some unique insights. So for example, I've made thousands in profit betting sports, and more importantly, I've helped others ditch the emotional chaos and start treating betting like a business. So in this line right here, I've made thousands. That gives proof. They've done it themselves. Ideally, you have a screenshot up on screen as well. By saying helping others, that also adds trust because you're able to get the result for yourself, but you're also able to help others do the same. That's another level of credibility right there. And then treating betting like a business shows that you're more experienced. This is actually a thing that's designed to make money, not a casual hobby that you're following. Now, the third thing is target audience. We need to make it clear who this is for. So in this example, the sports books want you emotional and dumb because that's how they win. So this calls out casual bettors directly, people that are emotional and dumb. And you're literally just saying you. And the rest of this is kind of implied when you're saying sports books and you're talking about betting on sports. People that are watching it are usually going to be people that bet on sports. Now, the fourth element is the desired transformation. So what is the outcome or benefit of watching this video? In this example, but once I learned to think like them, to flip the script and exploit the same math they use to bleed casuals dry, I started pulling consistent profit. The words like think like them, exploit the same math, that shows change. And consistent profit, that's the end goal that the viewers want. The fifth thing is stakes. So what pain or risk do they face if they ignore this? So for example, if you actually care about getting better at this, pay attention, because if you don't, you'll keep wasting money and blaming bad luck. So this is what the current situation is for most of the target audience. They're usually burning money, placing stupid bets, and blaming bad luck. They think it's a luck thing when actually it's a skill thing. Basically showing that if you ignore this advice, then things are going to be really bad. Number 6 is curiosity loop. So today I'm breaking down how the betting industry really works, the 2 main strategies that work in 2025, and what to do once you eventually get banned by the books. So all of these things, like how the betting industry really works, the 2 main strategies that work, and what you do once you eventually get banned, these are all like open loops. They're bonus things that the viewer might want to know. So we're teasing them all up front so that they have to watch the rest of the video to find these little things out. And then specificity, last of all, this is where you use real numbers or details to make things feel unique and believable, right? If you're talking, right, if you just say very vague things like make a profit, for example, it just doesn't sound specific enough to make the story feel real or believable. It's just very vague. The more specific something is, the more it comes to life. So for example, I used to bet like a complete idiot. I'm talking 6-leg parlays while using the martingale strategy like a degenerate. You see how we're listing specific things like 6-leg parlays? Instead of just saying parlays, we're saying 6-leg parlays. And we're even giving a specific strategy called the martingale strategy. In case you don't know what that is, it's where you keep doubling every time you lose, which is a very stupid strategy. But by using specific things, someone might have tried this martingale strategy before, and so it will feel very relevant to them. To continue with this, but after losing 3,002 months, I stopped betting like a parlay princess and started thinking like a data scientist. So again, 3,002 months is a very specific amount. So those are the 7 must-have elements of every intro. When you're writing your intro and you look through it, which we're going to go through an example later in the video, you want to just go through the checklist and make sure you have all these 7 things. If you don't have it, then figure out a way to implement it somewhere in the intro. But it doesn't matter what order you have these elements, as long as they're in the intro, then it's good. Now moving on to bonus copywriting elements. These are optional, but the more of these that you can sprinkle in, the better your intro is going to be. So the first one is FOMO, the fear of missing out. This is where you create a sense that others are already ahead and that the viewer is falling behind if they don't take action. So for example, most sharp bettors are already using this. If you're not, you're missing out on some of the easiest profit available right now. Next one is urgency. So you want to frame the info as time sensitive, like it won't work forever. So as an example, but it won't stay that way forever because the more hedge funds and data geeks that start sniffing around, the harder it becomes to find an edge in sports betting. So by saying this, we're making it seem like all the pros are going to come into the industry and the advantage will be gone. That makes them want to take action now, which means they're going to want to watch the video. Next, we have scarcity. So this is where you imply that the info is rare or hard to find and it's not widely shared. So for example, nobody's really talking about this, but once you understand it, you start seeing value bets that other people completely miss. There's also insider info. So this is where you make the viewer feel like they're getting private access to something used by the pros. So right here, I started digging into how the best gamblers in history actually made money, and almost all of them had one thing in common. It also touches on that curiosity / open loop, since it sets up the what is this one thing, right? That's another element being used there. But also the best gamblers in history, it's this insider thing that only the best gamblers know. Honestly, the sports books hope you don't figure this out, because once you do, they lose that edge over you. All right, insider info, the sports books, they have this knowledge that they don't want you to know. Now, next thing we have is contrarian take or polarizing statement. So this is where you say something that challenges the common beliefs in your niche, even if it's a little controversial. Polarization is the best way to go. You probably noticed there's the rage bait meta right now online, where you just make something that's going to rage bait people, and then they get a lot of engagement. People start commenting and hating on it, and it just makes it more popular. That's what we're going to do here. Everyone says bankroll management is the key to winning. It's not. That's just what people say when they don't understand how to actually beat the books. So we're going against bankroll management. That's like a common thing in the niche. For your niche, you're going to have specific things that you disagree with. You're basically just going to hate on it and cause controversy. Next thing is the common enemy. It's the us versus them dynamic. So this is where we create this shared villain. For example, in my example, for sports betting, we have the sports books. We have fake gurus like discords where people sell picks, things like that, or degenerate bettors. It could be anything. This is the thing that we hate against. So this just works really well because people like having a shared enemy that they go up against. You probably notice a lot of different movements always have a common enemy that they hate on. For example, Andrew Tate always had the Matrix. Iman Gadzhi does the Puppet Masters. Any like conspiracy theory, there's always this thing that is against them, like big pharma, big tech, big business, big government, whatever it is. It's like this big entity that's bringing you down. So you want something. In this example, we say the reason sports books keep winning isn't because they're smarter. It's because most bettors keep making the same mistakes they want you to make, right? The sports books, they're the big kind of evil syndicate that's pushing you down. So common enemy is a good thing. It just rallies people against something. It causes emotion, and having that in your content just makes it do better. And it doesn't have to be a thing or a person or like a company or something like that. It can be an idea as well. Like, you don't have to like hate on someone because that could be a bit toxic. If there's an idea you dislike that you're against, then usually just framing this idea or this belief as your common enemy is a good thing to do. Next thing is qualification / disqualification. So this is where you make the viewer feel like this is for them and not for others. So as an example, qualification is where you make them feel part of your group. So you say, but if you're watching this video, then you're probably not here for another hot pick or max unit banger. You're here because you take betting seriously or you want to start. Right? It makes them feel part of the tribe. It's kind of doing that common enemy thing again. That's why a lot of videos, you probably hear people say something like, if you're still watching to this point, then congratulations, you have top 1% attention span, and they start glazing you for being very smart. They're doing that to make you feel part of the group. It's a qualification tactic. And then you have the opposite, which is disqualification. You say, if you're just here to chase 6-leg parlays hoping for a miracle, then click off the video right now and go watch some brain rot TikTok videos. You're doing the opposite effect where you're pushing people that aren't part of your group away. And so the ones that are not here to do this and chase 6-leg parlays, they're going to be like, yeah, leave, bro, leave. And they're part of your group. Next, we have value framing. So this is where you make the info feel premium. It's exclusive or hard earned. So exclusive access would be something like, this is something I usually only share with my private clients, but I'm walking through it here because it's too valuable not to share. It frames the content as way more valuable. And so they're going to stick around to watch it. You also have input bias, which is basically how long you spend learning something or putting something together. So I spent over 10 hours breaking the strategy down and testing it, so you don't have to. Or I spent 3,000 hours writing out this video right here, preparing the script. It just shows how much time they put into this, so you know it's going to be good. Then we have named or numbered systems. So this is where you frame the video as a proven process or strategy. So people usually say, there's a 4-step framework I use to find plus EV bets, and most people skip step 1. Or you can even give it a name. If you don't want to do numbered system, you can do a name system like the sharp stack, and it's how I spot mismatches that the books miss. Now lastly, new, easy, safe, big. So I made a video diving into this in the past, but new is just something fresh that they haven't seen before. Easy makes it feel easy to do. Safe makes them believe that they won't fail, and then big promises an exciting result. Ultra egos would be only, where they can only get this info from you. Anybody means this works for anyone, even beginners. Predictable means that it's a proven process that keeps working no matter when or where. And then fast is that they'll see results quickly. Basically, if you have these sort of elements or words or phrases that suggest these elements, it makes your intro more powerful. So to give an example, here's a 7-step system you can use to start making your first $1,000 with sports betting in 30 days, even if you're kind of stupid. So let's break down the new, easy, safe, big elements. When you say simple, right, that's a word that just signals easy. It makes it feel doable. It's not overwhelming. This word right here, I'll actually highlight it so that it's clearer to see. When you call it a 7-step system, so we have this again, 7-step system, right? We're doing the same thing. It signals it's predictable. It's a 7-step process that you can do over and over again, and it continues to work. We also have start making your first $1,000, right? Making your first $1,000, it signals a big result, right? It's a lot of money, or at least for beginners starting out with this, if they could make $1,000 instead of losing money, then that's a big win for them. In 30 days, signals that it's fast, right? It's something that can be done really quickly. You have this right there. Not 6 months from now, not a year from now, in 30 days. People just like things that are quick. And finally, even if you're kind of stupid, shows that this works for anybody. And it's written in a joking way, but shows even if you're dumb, this works too. Makes them feel like this is accessible to anybody. So the elements are highlighted there, but as you can see in this one line, there were 5 elements used of this new, easy, safe, big. And you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to just put in 1,000 of these things. You just sprinkle them throughout. And as you watch videos now, you start to notice that they all have these elements sprinkled throughout. So yeah, those are the elements. These are the bonus ones. You don't need to include all of these. You basically treat this as a checklist, right? You have the 7, which you want to have in every video. And then you could throw in like 2 to 3 of these bonus ones where you see it kind of makes sense with the angle of the intro that you're going with. So now that we've gone through all of this, I just want to go through how you actually measure success. So this is just theory of what you want to include. But the way you actually measure is by looking at viewers still watching after 30 seconds. As you can see in this video right here, we had 69% still watching at the 30-second mark. It was actually higher when we first released the video. It was 74%, but Video's blown up even more since then. It's been shown to a wider audience, and so that number is going to go down over time. This video used to have like 45% watch percentage or something like that. Naturally, it's going to go down as it gets shown to more people. So yeah, if it's 70% plus, usually means it's pretty good. I notice my best ones are typically 74%, around that range. It's above 70%. And then if it's below 60%, it's usually pretty bad. Those are the metrics I use when judging intros. So here's a final checklist to use before submitting. What I would do is just go and write your intro like you normally would. And actually, we're going to show an example intro below. But yeah, we want to use this checklist right here. We dive through your intro and you just check off everything one by one. So first line connects to title and thumbnail, speaker shows credibility, target audience is clear, desired transformation is mentioned, viewer pain or risk is stated, curiosity or open loops are included, specific details or numbers are used, fluff removed, every line has a reason to be there. So you make sure that each line does one of these elements. If not, then remove it. It's not needed. And then aim to have at least 2 to 3 of these bonus elements included if it fits the topic. More is fine if it feels natural. And lastly, word count 75 to 150 words. I noticed in my best performing intros, the strong ones hit around 75 words. Some other ones were at 140. So you can test super long, super short intros, but I just noticed that the shorter the intro, the better it usually does. Now, go ahead, use this SOP or this checklist in your future videos. And if you want all the SOPs and the guides and stuff I use to train my team to write scripts that get views and get sales, and once again, check the link in the description. I'll show you how to build out the entire script writing system so that you can get more sales for your business without having to open a Google Doc ever again. So if you want to check that out, link in the description. But going into our example introduction, it's this video right here, which I showed on screen. We're going to dive through it line by line and go through all the elements included. So the opening line was, the sports books want you emotional and dumb because that's how they win. So in this line right here, we're using the common enemy. It's the us versus them dynamic. There's stakes. Now it's a little bit subtle, but if you're emotional and dumb, you lose and they win. Sportsbooks win, then you lose money. So that's what's at stake. Also, sportsbooks are the enemy of ours that we're fighting against. Once I learned to think like them, to flip the script and exploit the same math they use to bleed casuals dry, I started pulling consistent profit. And we have a screenshot. So credibility is shown here because the speaker says, I started pulling consistent profit. Shows that they cracked the code. We then show screenshots. Insider info. So we're exploiting the same math that the bookies use on us to bleed casuals dry. It shows insider info there. Desired transformation is we're going from losing money to making consistent profit. And then curiosity loop is how exactly did he flip the script? What is the math that he uses, right? What did he do? Now they're curious what I'm doing. What's the secret trick? Next line. I wasn't chasing 6-leg heaters like a parlay princess, and I definitely wasn't buying picks from some TikTok kid named LockDaddy69. So it's very specific. 6-leg heater, LockDaddy69, even a specific name, right? And it's just written in a joking way of how absurd these pick sellers are. Again, it's the common enemy is used here. There's disqualification. We're calling out casuals that are doing 6-leg heaters. And it's just a bit humorous as well. We're using absurd language. Parlay princess is like some slang. Parlays are when you bet multiple games at once, which is another thing we hate on. But we're calling them a parlay princess, just like a joking kind of insult. And then LockDaddy69. So little jokes, pattern break. We grab attention that way. Next line is, I built a system, the same one sharp bettors use to steal money from the sports books every single day. So by saying it's a system, it just shows that it's repeatable. Again, people love systems. I'd probably give it a number like 6-step system or 7-step system. I think that makes it even better. That's probably something I would change if I was rewriting this. It's the same one the sharp bettors use. Sharp bettors are basically just winning bettors or professional bettors. So it shows this insider info. And then predictable means you're stealing money from the sports books every single day, right? It happens all the time. It's predictable. Now the strategy works, but if you do this right, you become dangerous. So dangerous that the sports books will limit you and try to ban you. So we show stakes here. If you win, and you're probably going to win too much to the point where they're going to ban you because the sports books don't like it when you win. They limit your account. They set you can only bet a certain amount just so you don't win as much. So we're also showing FOMO by saying that other bettors are already using this and they're getting banned and they're making money before they get banned. We're showing that you're missing out. You got to get on the strategy now. And for the last line, so today I'm breaking down the 7 principles that took me from just another degenerate to someone who stopped donating his rent money to fund the book's private jet fuel. So we got 7 principles here. It's a numbered system. We have the desired transformation. So just from another degenerate to someone who stopped donating his rent money to fund the book's private jet fuel. It's very absurd. It's very specific as well, right? We're painting that image of you losing money and just giving money to the books. You're funding their jet fuel. It's just absurd. It's a bit funny and very specific. Common enemy again, the books, right? Value framing. It's an earned insight. So it took me from X to Y, right? Something I learned and something I earned. So adds more value there as well. So this is basically the full intro, as you can see. And this one did really well for my channel. Got a lot of views. So something that you can use. And if you want more like this, if you want all the guides I use to train my team, then once again, check the link in the description to learn more of how I can help you set up your YouTube script writing system. Now, earlier I mentioned how I'm able to pay my writers $25 per script. In fact, here's my content tracker right here for my channel. As you can see, some videos are actually getting like $17 per script, $12, $20. So it ranges, but like it's consistently under $20 per script. Even for the entire video where we're paying like $46, $36, like the entire video from video idea to the script, titles and thumbnails, the editing, and then my channel manager posts the video for me as well. I'm getting it under $50 per video, and I don't touch anything. The videos go live. I don't even film the videos, but that's a story for another day. Avatar is actually AI generated. But if you want the entire system, like everything I do to build this channel right here, which has done very well for me, I've grown it to 4,000 subscribers. It's completely run automatically. Then check out the video up on the screen. I'll put it up on the screen right now for you to check out. It will dive into the whole system, everything I do from start to finish to build this content team that runs without me. Check it out. You'll find it very helpful.